Hey, excuse me. Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today is Sunday, and that means only one thing. That means Sunday Comics. How's it going, everybody? Sunday Comics, for those of you who are new, is where once a week I just talk about comics. No guests, just me, you, and some comics. And I usually pick like an older comic that meant a lot to me. Something usually most. I wake it up slowly. Usually these comics are like comics that I have like practically memorized because I read them 800 billion times. This comic, oh my god, I don't know how many times I reread this comic. I could almost go through panel by panel in my head how many times I've looked at this comic. It is in my top 10 favorite comics of all time, maybe even top 5. And the funny thing is, it's a fill-in issue. It's an inventory issue, and I'll get to that as soon as I go through the chat. So, there's something in my way. Crenshaw. Good morning, John. Good morning, chat. How you doing, Crenshaw? How's everything? How's everything? And again, fun my comic. This is my comic, Heroic Tales. You just saw that snappy. That's the only way I could describe that. That snappy, jazzy intro. My mic sounds wrong. Let's see. Is everything? Ooh. Let me know. I don't know. Uh, anybody else agree, disagree about my mic? Maybe it's his camera, but everything looked fine. We got What Geeks Do Network. Good morning, Fred. Good morning. And he did that John's Long Box intro that I accidentally hit the button and started my trailer a little. James Griffin. Good morning. A friend once told me alien anal probes aren't so bad if done right. Just saying. Well, tell your friend they even better if done wrong. James is one of my buddies. He was here last night. We played Arkham Horror, and Arkham Horror Second Edition is perhaps my favorite board game. It's a bit long. It's a bit fiddly, to the point where it's one of the first board games I bought. It's the board game that got me obsessed with board games. I always played board games as a kid, Risk, Monopoly, and all that kind of stuff. And then I found out about Arkham Horror Second Edition, and I fell in love with it. But I bought the game, and I just read the rules, and I just didn't know how to play. So then I joined an online meetup group, and that just broke all the dams. And we played last night. Jimmy loves that game. He played with his daughter, his fiance, and we foreplay. And it's just rough. That game, it gives you it's mean. It gives you hope that you're going to win, and then you lose. It's a cooperative game, meaning all the players must play against like a horrible, evil Cthulhu. We played against Yog Sagat last night, and Zach Tan give us the blessing. We could have used you last night. Hey, random booby, how's it going? A nice booby shot. My mic sounds wrong. It's a little tinny. All right, so I'm gonna remove myself and then re-add myself. I hope that resets it. How does this sound? How does this sound? I removed myself and then came back. All right. Pete Rock, how you doing, Pete? Pete wrote a fan letter to Heroic Tales issue number 2. So far, Pete is the only one. So if anybody wants to be a part of Heroic Tales as a letter writer, just send me okay, that's not bad. Send me a letter to Mails, M-A-I-L-S, at yahoo.com. And we'll put them in. We'll put them in. I would like to. And I want to launch Heroic Tales #2 sooner rather than later. Just waiting for a few more pages. Then we're going to get a trailer made, and then we're going to launch. Mark Board, I get that nostalgic vibe every time I see still only 35 cents burst. Those are my first as young. Yeah. You know what that means when it says still only 35 cents? It means they're going to raise to 40 cents. So what it really means is DC already went to 40 cents and Marvel's just rubbing it in their face. This is just driving me crazy. You know what I do when I'm done recording, I take that camera and put it away because I just get so paranoid that somebody could watch me. I mean, all I'm doing is sitting here picking my nose and reading comics, but I always just get paranoid that like somebody somewhere is watching me. So I move the camera. Sounds fine. It's a little tinny. I didn't notice anything wrong. Okay. Torchbearer Studios. How's it going? How's everything? Arkham as in Lovecraft. Yes. Arkham Horror is a Lovecraft-based board game. It may not be the first, but it's the first to me. There was Arkham Horror First Edition that I've only seen online. I would like to get a copy of it just for nostalgia purposes, because I'm not nostalgia. I can't be nostalgic for something, but just for collector purposes. But then Arkham Horror Second Edition by Fantasy Flight Games. It's a sprawling, complicated, complex game. Normally, I say they're complicated, meaning a lot to do, but complex just means like overwhelming, like it's easy to forget all the little doodads and whistles. You know what I mean? You really need someone who knows the rules inside and out to play with. Like Jimmy was saying, his daughter and his fiance, they played, and they said that we did something wrong. We did something wrong, but there's like 4 big box expansions. Just boxes as big as the original box, and then there's like a whole bunch of small expansions. I just like throwing as much in as possible, in for a penny, in for a pound. Dirt Nap Collectibles. Hey, how you doing? Mike is fine. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Hey, good new name. I love seeing new names. Still starving our artist. Just kidding. Being a contrarian. Random Booby. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah. What is the name of that guy? I always feel like somebody's kicking out a couple of chunkies today. Okay, I don't know what that means, but that sounds fun. So anyway, let's get to this comic. Marcus is here. I was about to say, where's Marcus? He loves this comic too. So this is Ghost Rider 35, 1979, Death Race. Just look at that cover. This is actually the second copy that I got. The original copy is just so beat up. I mean, I bought it off the spinner rack. I read it. I put paper on top of it and traced this. Oh man, I just, it's as beat up as a. Well, I've seen other copies. I was gonna say with just even as a kid, I didn't really destroy my comics. I read them, but I was always like a little careful. I was always careful with my toys. Things I was into, I was pretty careful with. So it didn't get beat up as I say some comics that my friends had. But just check out this copy. So this was an inventory issue. So what it means is it was written and drawn with no intentions of being published. It was written and drawn and then put in a drawer someplace. And in case the regular team was late, back then they cared about deadlines and being late. Back then they had obligations to the newsstands. You had to give them a comic every month or you were in a breach of contract. And that was a big deal. So back in the 70s, a lot in the 70s, because Marvel was had a lot of problems as far as being on time. They would just either reprint something or they got smart and they would commission 13 issues a year of a comic. And then one comic would be lost in time and space unless there was a problem, and then they would take that already drawn and just insert it into the regular order. So this comic, it says right here, Oh, it doesn't say here just yet, but I'll show you. So this is volume 1, number 35, April 1979. Jim Starlin, story and layout. Steve Lailiola, I think that was the best I ever pronounced it. And Friends to finish art. So there you go. Whenever you see stuff like that, you know that was just a time crunch. Tom Orzechowski, lettering. Petra Goldberg, coloring. Roger Stern, editor. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Death Race. I've said this, and you know, it's not even my hill to die on because it's not like anybody's attacking me, but Jim Shooter Marvel was the best Marvel. You know, the Stan Lee Marvel was, you know, obviously classic, amazing, great. That's built the foundation, and then the Jim Shooter just built like a great edifice on top of this wonderful foundation. So I just remember, I remember vividly sitting at the kitchen table, my two older brothers sitting at the kitchen table, and we were all drawing this. Now, I think they're like 6 and 10 years older than me, and they were explaining to me why this is a Harley, you know, the difference in the motorcycle stuff. And they were focusing on the motorcycle. I'm focusing on this flaming skull monster on the motorcycle, you know, different types of. But I don't know how many times I put tracing paper on top of this and drew this, or I just freehand drew this over and over and over again. Oh man, look at that. That's a splash page, right? You want me to turn the page, and going forward, I'll talk about the comic and then I'll address the chat. So yes, Rockwell, somebody's watching me. Yeah, Rockwell, if I remember correctly, Rockwell's father was the guy who owned Motown Records, so that's how they got Michael Jackson to do the backups. Skeletons riding motorcycles, what's not to love? There you go. Absolutely right. Marcus agrees. This is a great comic. Yeah, Jim Shooter is my favorite editor-in-chief. Yeah. Stan Lee and Jim Shooter. You can't take anything away from Jim Shooter. So what we have here is Ghost Rider. Just look how creepy that is. That is just creepy because it's not quite a skull, you know. It's like a skull, but then the eyes, I don't know. Like sometimes Ghost Rider has eyeballs, sometimes he just has like darkness, and sometimes he has points of light. Sometimes there's fire in the skull. You know, it's kind of interesting. So what do we have here? Ghost Rider's just riding around, and he's daydreaming about the past. So this comic is set between issues 13 and 14, which means it was an older inventory issue. And it just sat around and sat around and sat around. So it doesn't fit in with the issues previous, and it won't fit in with the issue next. So, you know, so the little editorial between issues 13 and 14. Meanwhile, this is issue 35. And you could tell how different it is. I mean, just look from the first page. This is Ghost Rider's motorcycle. So somewhere after issue 14, Ghost Rider got the ability to create a motorcycle out of fire. He didn't have that power back then. Back then, he had a full-on regular stunt bike. So they need, you know, this can't fit in with the last previous. And kudos to Jim Shooter for enforcing continuity. I freaking love that. I love that he's increased. You know, continuity to me is super important, and that's, you know, the realism and the continuity have always been the two things that you know, just keep me interested in comics. And then we got the sketchy early. So we don't know how long ago did Jim Starlin draw this? Okay, this is 1979. Between 13 and 14. So we're gonna say probably around issue. You know, it was probably commissioned during those. So this was bi-monthly. So this could have been drawn like 6 years previously. You know, this could have been written and drawn up to 6 years previously to this issue if it's been sitting around as an inventory issue. And Jim Starlin, the 79. So this could have been like some of Jim Starlin's earlier work. I don't know. Maybe I'm speculating. Maybe Marcus knows better when this was actually drawn. For all I know, it was drawn the month before this. I'm speculating because it's an insert out of continuity story. So we got Jim Starlin with these cool. Jim Starlin. We got Johnny Blaze riding this cool motorcycle. No helmet. You don't need no helmet back in 1979. Back when man was free. This is America. America. You don't need a motorcycle helmet. And where is he? Somewhere in the Southwest. I always loved that, like, most of the superheroes were in New York. Being a New Yorker, it was a cool, more personal touch to me. But there was some cool stuff that there was some obvious exceptions. There were some superheroes, some characters that did not deal with New York, like Ghost Rider on a motorcycle driving through New York just doesn't work. It's something about the desert, suburbs, rural, that's Ghost Rider. He's like an urban legend. I just like the Hulk. Hulk was like New Mexico. Ghost Rider was like Arizona, Texas. Utah. I don't know why Utah was difficult for me to remember. And then obviously it was a Man-Thing was in Florida. I thought it was cool when there was some superheroes that would just, their stomping ground was outside of New York. So back then, what's this? I'm changing. I'm being transformed into Ghost Rider. So as you can see, Johnny Storm doesn't have the ability. So the previous issue, Johnny Storm had the power to create a motorcycle out of fire. Johnny Storm had the ability to willfully transform into Ghost Rider and willfully not transform into Ghost Rider. And I love this. As he transforms, you could just see the mask. Does it melt into his flesh? Does it transform? Now, when he transforms back, will the mask be there, or the goggles, rather? But I love this. Oh, man, look at that panel. He goes, so here, but why? Why did this happen? This never happens unless myself or someone nearby is in trouble. And then it says, a situation which later changed. Now Johnny switches forms at will. So this is all these little editorial, the editors let you know that things are different. The continuity is different. Why? Because this was written years before or drawn years before. There's no one in sight for miles. I see no apparent threat except the possibility of getting drenched by those storm clouds. What's going on? Now, storm, wait a minute. It may occasionally rain out here, but I didn't think it ever had deluges like this out there. There's something strange. Standing in here, what's going on? I got to brake hard. So there's a guy's just standing in the road, standing right in front of him, and Ghost Rider just full on hits the brakes and skids and doesn't hit that guy. Skulls with eyes are extra creepy. Uncanny Valley. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's just look at all that. It adds the eyes in the skull give the artist the ability to like play with emotions. You know what I mean? So it's a skull. I personally think it's a mistake to not have eyes in Ghost Rider, because then he's just an emotionless skull. When you put eyes in Ghost Rider, it gives him it gives the artist the ability to make him stern or creepy and stuff like that. So I agree. But then again, I'm fully aware that we like what we liked when we were kids, so Marcus says motorcycles are hard to draw. So are horses, right? I express interest in a Western story and a bunch of artists like, I don't want to draw horses. So insert issues were not that common. No, they were a sign that there was a problem. Chuck Dixon was saying that when he was working on Robin and Batman and stuff like that, they all got paid to do 13 issues a year. So, him, and when he was working with Graham Nolan, they would do 13 issues of Batman a year, and then one of them would get shelved just in case. This was back when they cared about coming out on time. This is the newsstand era. This is before the direct market. So you had to you had to come out monthly. You had to fulfill your contract. You could get into legal problems. I don't know if they fined you or if it broke the contract or whatever, but it was the Bible. There's all these stories about like having jams, meaning all the artists would go to somebody's apartment and they would just drink coffee and take, those White Cross pills to keep them epinephrine, I think they're called, and then just to speed it up and make a whole comic book in 24 hours. Some legendary, like the first Namor, first the Human Torch back in the 40s was the first jam that I'm aware of. And then, they would just do all that because they needed to hit the deadline due. So they weren't rare. They weren't common. I would say uncommon. Is that fair? Is that a fair? But you did see it. Yeah, no helmets in Idaho, because Idaho is America. Who's your favorite Ghost Rider? Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is the Ghost Rider I grew up with. Danny Ketch is the second, and then whatever. But to me, Ghost Rider is a skull on a motorcycle. That's just what I'm used to, Clothes come back with the transformations. Yep. Al Milgrom finished the pencils for the splash panel. Yeah, I when it said friends, I knew there was somebody whose name wasn't listed, but I couldn't figure out who. And Steve, so I didn't, if it's just Al Milgrom, I understand they're friends with Al Milgrom, but give the guy some credit. Starlin, Loyola, and Mike Netzer inked the comic. Marcus, what else did Mike Netzer do? That's a new name. That's a new name to me. Johnny Blaze is the true Ghost Rider. Yeah, me too. Johnny Blaze. So now I got to break hard. We got some, and perfect use of the ads. Create a little bit of tension. This is just how you do it. And if you got my comic, the last page in the comic is a goof on this. Brian Bow did it. Brian Bow did it so good. A few people didn't realize it was a fake ad. It just showed you that they didn't really read. First time ever, 1 cent sale. There you go. And then look at that. Look at this page. Just look at this panel. Greetings, Ghost Rider. I've looked forward to this meeting with keen anticipation. I feel this is a meeting I shall long remember. Who? Just look at this panel. Remember, Ghost Rider's riding a real motorcycle, metal, gas, rubber, plastic. And look at that face. Look at that face. I'm calling it now. Somebody has a tattoo of that on their body. Somebody, not me, but somebody's got a tattoo of that. Look at that. You know what? Before I forget, I want to take a picture of that. That is just an awesome panel. So here we go. As at Fabetta, you see me take a picture. Okay. I'm long after and secretly sought for. I am the reason you ride that absurd motorcycle. I am the why you risk that insane stunts. I am death. So this being is claiming, I don't know, evil spirits wouldn't lie, is claiming to be the personification of death. Now, is this the same death that Thanos likes? So this would be the first they them, because this obviously looks male, or maybe it doesn't. Who knows? It's death. It doesn't have any skin. But look at that. Look at that. And then just this askew angle over here for no reason other than to create uncomfortability. It's just everything about this. Then look at that panel. And I think that panel, it's a great panel. You got those ridges, the skull on fire, the open mouth, but it's the eyes that just pull it together. It's like the rug in the Big Lebowski's room. The carpet really pulled the room together. Those eyes just pull that panel together. Look at that panel, and then this to me is cinema. Like when Jim Starlin handed this in, and they decided to shelve it for a while. They must have been like, this is going to get published. I mean, it's so good. Look at this. We got this. We got them facing each other, but in the middle, we got the motorcycles reflections. Oh my God. This should be made into a cheap horror movie. Oh my God. This particular issue is just one of the greatest standalone issues of all time. We got Death over here laughing. So what's going on? Death is challenging Ghost Rider to 3 races. He goes, Grant, you want the Marquis de Sade once called it more personal death. You see, I have taken on this corporal form so you and I might race. We race death? Of course. A grand effort. You can't refuse. 3 shall be the races, and there shall be 3 prizes. He's serious. He really means to face me. And you know what? I do. I believe he's death. I really think this is happening. So Ghost Rider is actually starting to panic. You know, Ghost Rider back around issue 13 or so, it was just Johnny Storm looking like a skull. Johnny Blaze looking like a skull. You know, there was no real differentiation of personalities, which is evidence to me that they didn't know what to do with Ghost Rider. You know, Ghost Rider debuted it in a Marvel Spotlight number 5. I think he went about 5 issues, and then they gave him his own issue. So by the time this story, whatever, we'll say 20 Ghost Rider comics just to keep the math easy, they were still figuring out what to do with Johnny Storm, and that was a real thing back in Marvel. You know, I keep bringing up that, you know, Peter Parker, the original Steve Ditko version of Peter Parker, he was brusque and abrasive, and he was getting worse when Steve Ditko left. The original Hulk, man, those first 6 issues of the Hulk, it was almost as if every issue they were fresh out of the egg, starting again. Like he had a different personality, a different way of transforming. You know, his personality was different each transformation. You know, the first appearance at night, he turned into the Hulk. Then he had to transform with a ray. He would stand on a platform and push a button with his toe, and that would turn him back and forth into the Hulk. And then sooner or later they stumbled into Rage. So it took Hulk about 20-25 issues to form. The first 10 issues so of the Fantastic Four, those are insane issues of the Fantastic Four. Like Reed Richards is almost like a villain. The Thing was almost a villain. The Invisible Girl might as well not have been there. She was just the invisible hostage. Johnny Storm was most consistent, but even he was more childlike. It was almost like when they say teenager, you'd almost believe he was like 13 in those early issues. But anyway, the same with Ghost Rider. I think Ghost Rider, more than any other character, they didn't know what to do with Ghost Rider. He was a cool concept, but not flushed out, and it took a while, which is why I think they changed Ghost Rider so much, you know. But anyway, I love this. 2 amazing pages. Just love it. All right, so Tony Grigo says Johnny Blaze the true Ghost Rider. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he's my Ghost Rider. Yeah, he was Mike Nasser. He was Mike Nasser. Did a lot of work in the 70s at DC. So that's why I don't know the name so much. He was a DC guy. Yeah, well, that's just your opinion, man. Yep. What's up, Joe Dog? How's it going? Gonna go grab brunch with my boyfriend. See you next week. Okay, see you. Enjoy brunch. That sounds nice. Go get some brunch. That could be an insert comic. Johnny Storm as Ghost Rider. There you go. A lot of fire. Double the fire. I love this panel. Which particular panel? I mean, you could take almost any panel on these 2 pages, and they're amazing. Ditko used Rage for the Hulk. In fact, when the Hulk got too excited, he would change back to Banner. Yeah, I forgot about that. What do you think of the 2 Nick Cage movies? The problem with Ghost Rider is Ghost Rider never had that great story. He had, you know, for me, my favorite Ghost Rider story is 33-34, the 2 issues before this, and I think I showcased them on Sunday Comics. But other than that, oh man, I was just thinking if they did Ghost Rider 33, 34 as a movie, you could get rid of like the more Marvel-esque, just keep it as a straight out horror movie. That would be terrifying. But what's the great Ghost Rider story? If I say the Fantastic Four, I think without really doing much research, you could rattle off of the Inhumans, the Coming of Galactus, the Skrull saga. Just Spider-Man, his origin, his Ghost Rider just has the origin, and the origin is okay. Ghost Rider's origin is one of the most okayest of all origins. But what is the great Ghost Rider story? So this would have been good. This would have been good, but it's not a superhero. This is a horror. This is a horror comic. So the Nick Cage movies, first off, I loved Nick Cage as Ghost Rider. Perfect casting, absolutely perfect casting. But it was okay. I had problems with it. I have nostalgic feelings to it because of the you guys are gonna laugh, but the first Ghost Rider movie was like the first date movie that my wife and I went to go see before we were married. took her to go see Ghost Rider, so she bought the DVD, and that's like a special movie to her. Perfect couple, right? We got some more ads over here, and again, this is really happening. Look at that face, and then we go to an ad. Build up a little bit of suspense, and then so now we got Ghost Rider. They conveniently forgot about the storm. So our first race shall be a street race. 5 miles down this highway, a lone cyclist waits. His name is Richie Petrillo. He's at Destination Enterprise. If you reach him first, he lives. And if you get there first, he dies. I kind of figured that. Then prepare to race, Ghost Rider. Ready, get set, go, boom. And I love this. They take off so fast, there's just a helmet. Whose helmet? Is it Ghost Rider's helmet? Well, Ghost Rider don't have a helmet. Is it Death's helmet? Death don't need no helmet. Where'd the helmet come from? You don't. It's cool. It's the rule of cool over here. Was there helmet just laying out? It's just cool. And then poor Richie. He's just riding. His motorcycle broke down. There is a downpour. Okay, they just didn't draw it over here. So there's a downpour. Because there he is, just as Death Rider predicted. Not predicted. I knew. For I am Death. And then Richie is just flagging him down. I need help. Here comes 2 bikers. Biker code. We got to help them. And I know my 2 older brothers are bikers. And this is something that they said that they, always stop and help a fellow biker. The rules of the road. He goes, my God, their heads, and then, they're pulling on the throttle, and then no, Death reaches him first and just touches him. What the devil? Hey man, what's going on? What's with the skulls? Are you some sort of Hell's Angels? I feel funny. What did you do to me? And then again, the ads create a little bit of tension. We got the thing over here. I forgot about the chat. I got so caught up in the comic. My favorite Ghost Rider comic cover is number 18. I got to look it up. I can't remember the cover off the top of my head from 1976. My skull's on fire, but I'm all right. Do you have that issue where he meets Jesus? Yeah. What do they call him? The Friend? Isn't that, or is that the Defenders where they call him the Friend? Yeah, but I do have that issue. I got all of the original Johnny Blaze Ghost Riders. I'm missing a bunch of the next series where I think it's Danny Ketch, and I got to catch up on reading them. There you go. All right. I got to look up what the cover of 18 is, but look at this. So, and he just dies right in front of you. You killed him. You aged him right before my eyes. You cheated him out of his entire life. There's no cheating in this game, Ghost Rider. Anything goes. This is the game of life and death, and those are the rules. I don't like this game. You knew I didn't have a chance of winning this race. Not with you driving that super-powered chopper you got. I didn't have the horses to keep up with you. It was unfair, so I quit. I will not play this game anymore. You must continue. You've no choice. And just look at how haughty and arrogant he is. Just that little tilt of the head. And again, he's got goggles on. He don't need no freaking goggles. He's deaf, but they're cool. And then the goggles have the like sparkling lights inside. You know, you need some sort of eyeballs, you know, to convey emotion. Those eyeballs, they pull the room together, you know, like in The Big Lebowski. And that's just my opinion, man. This means I don't race you snuff me, I know, even though you know you've got me outgunned from the start. That's correct. You'll be overjoyed to learn that our next race will be a cross-country bout, where my bike's extra horsepower will matter little. Driving skills will be what matters in the long run. Does this sound far easier for you to test your cycling talent again? No, it's all right. Good. Our next goal is a young Anna DeVere. She awaits 4 miles north, wandering lost, searching for her parents. She's just a little girl. My God. God has nothing to do with this, Blaze. This is a game of life and death alone. God has chosen not to interfere with my little sports. So you're on your own, Ghost Rider. There will be no help. Go! And then the motorcycles. Just awesome. Awesome. Oh my God, it's so good. So now they're racing across country over rocks and cacti and debris and lizards and bugs and snakes. And, you know, they're just driving across everything. So his more powerful, his fast motorcycle matters not. It's all skill. But this, I want to point that even as a kid, Johnny Blaze just came off so whiny, you know. I hated, well, no fair. I don't like this game. I didn't have a chance. It's not fair. Now with that super bike you got, it was unfair. I quit. Oh man, it really soured me in this issue. It made me almost root for death for a little bit. It's like, shut up, you whine. Superheroes don't whine. I've always thought of that little exchange. Where am I? Hey, Hail Marcus. That Jesus issue is written by Tony Isabella, who now wants to, yeah, Jennings. Don't you dead name him. Don't you dead name Tony Isabella. He wants privacy. So he's going to go on Twitter and tell everybody that big 80-year-old, big old fat guy is going to be transitioning to Jenny, but he wants privacy. Well, you know what? Nobody has thought about Tony Isabella in 25 years. He could have just transitioned without going on Twitter, but he wants privacy. Yeah. Monumental Comics. Stop being a push. Yeah. You know, it's I just didn't like that. I just didn't like that. Not fair. What guys, once you start whining about something not being fair, you're douche. So look at this. We got the 2 motorcycles over here. Like a pair of hells. And come on, man. You see this panel, and all of a sudden it's Meatloaf. The sirens are screaming and the fires are howling way down in the valley tonight. I'm sure I had that album blasting while reading this comic. You know, just, you know, hair. I mean, if I had a cigarette back then, you know, at the age of 9, cigarette in my mouth, you know, a Pabst Blue Ribbon. I mean, come on. This is the ultimate 70s. Put some Meatloaf on, reading about motorcycles, Pabst Blue Ribbon, you know, little hair. This is the ultimate 70s comics. So now they're just driving. You know, I love how every panel just shows them in the air because all the bumpy terrains, you know. Onward they raced. Death Rider, confident, almost arrogantly assured of his victory. Now they got to come back with Death Rider. And this also pisses me off because I obviously forgot his name was Death Rider. My friend Jimmy, who was in the chat earlier, his character got time traveled back into the 70s, and he's just going through all the 70s tropes. You know, he fought a possessed little girl. Well, he didn't beat up the girl, but he fought the demon that possessed the little girl. He literally fought a character named Death Rider, who that was obviously inspired, but I thought they just called him Death. I forgot they called him Death Rider. So if I ever adapt that story to Heroic Tales, I got to change the name. I'm not changing the name. He's going to be Death Rider. He's cheated again. The trail ahead is smoothing out. He'll be able to fall out again and leave me eating dust. He must have known about this. And there's the little girl. She's so young. No, he's going to reach her first. Wait, I still have a chance. He has a chance to save the little girl. What's going on? So I'm not going to turn the page. I'm going to adjust the chat. Johnny the Crybaby, that's how you know they switched writers. Yeah. Always loved his blue Evil Knievel jumpsuit. I know, it's so cool. Look at that. That is just so cool. Simple, elegant, not a wasted line. You know, perfect. Perfect. You know, what was, where was I talking about words and expressions that I just can't stand anymore, like cringe, mid, you know, but another word I just can't stand is iconic because it's used so incorrectly. But this is iconic. To me, when you use the word iconic, that means boom, set in stone. Don't change it. Don't change it. Easily recognizable. Life ain't fair and death doesn't play fair. That's the that's exactly it. That sums up Death Rider's motto, you know, way of everything in this particular issue. Bat Out of Hell is one of my all-time favorite albums. It's the first vinyl LP I ever bought. So then when CDs came, it was the first CD I've ever bought. And I went through a phase where I got embarrassed by Meatloaf, and I've since sold the vinyl and sold the CD. And now I'm like, well, it was good. It was good. But does anybody remember Meatloaf went through a scandal where he I think he had throat cancer and he was still touring, so he got caught lip syncing, and it really ruined his career. Now everybody, you know, Beyonce hasn't sang a song out of a studio, and even in a studio, who knows if she's actually singing. Heineken, F that shit. It's Pabst Blue Ribbon. All right, somebody know Blue Velvet. And he scared the crap out of you. Yeah, Death Rider. Jimmy's here too. Jimmy, we got to tell him about the guardian of the Hell's Gate Bridge. I don't know, that still creeps me out. Another adventure, one of my favorite adventures. Oh, and then Jimmy's character, he's his character is driving across the desert and he picked up a hitchhiker. That was like hitchhiking was a big freaking deal in the 70s. I'm trying to throw all the 70s tropes before Jimmy's character moves on to the 80s. Hitchhiker turned out to be a succubus. All right, so let's go to the next. We got Captain America throwing his mighty shield, which drives me nuts because Captain America flying shield, it should look like Captain America's shield. If it looked like Captain America's shield, like right here, I would have bought it. Oh my God, I would have bought it. But I'm not buying a Mighty Marvel flying shield that has Spider-Man, Hulk, and Captain America's face on it. You know, missed opportunity. It just shows you that this is some ad executive, you know, thinking that, rather than like a fan. I always like to look at the letters page names. Digby Russell and M.E. Robbins. Look at this Captain America. I love these. Look at that Captain America, big, muscular, tough guy. You know, saving a woman in a riot. So next issue, Ghost Rider's trek continues as he blazes into Denver, and the Mile High City will never be the same. More ads. This is why the comic books could afford to be 35 cents. All the ad revenue, you know. What kind of throw is that? It's a lame throw. We got Cheryl Ladd, we got L.A. Farah, Linda Carter, Susan Anton, the Coneheads, we got Kiss, we got the Christy McNichol and her brothers, something McNichol. Nobody knows the brother's name. Even Christy doesn't remember her brother's name. So now we got Ghost Rider. So what he's doing is there's a straightaway. So Death Rider is able to speed up. So Johnny just goes up a ramp, you know, an incline, and boom, does his stunt riding. And what does he do? He jumps up here, hey, Death Rider, and then leaps off. And you know, I always looked at the motorcycle over there, and he jumps on the little girl. The little girl's freaking out. I mean, geez, she's just wandering around. It's night. There's a goddamn storm going. Freaking lost her parents. This girl must be like this close, you know, to losing her poop. And then all of a sudden, freaking fire skull guy just jumps on top of her. But I just love the emotion. Back off, Rider. You'll not have this child. Look at his face. No need for juvenile displays of power, Ghost Rider. You win this round. And I just loved, I always read that in a calm, rational, creepy, eerie voice. So if you've no time to celebrate your victory, for our final contest must begin immediately. So gather up your cycle and let's be about our business. Lord, I built the old skull cycle to take a beating, but never expected to bounce all over the landscape like that. And it better start again. I don't like the feeling of forfeiting this last race because of mechanical failure, because I suspect the final prize is me. You know, and I remember as a kid, they show the motorcycle over there. I'm like, oh my God, what if the motorcycle doesn't work? You know, and the fact that my two older brothers were freaking, you know, back then, you know, no helmets, they would just lay down their bikes all the time, you know, coming home bruised to be. So this was like, oh my God, you know, this, you know, real. This motorcycle could be trashed, because if you're a motorcycle guy, like I said, my two older brothers, one of my brothers was like leader of a motorcycle club. You know, all they do is work on the bike. The bikes never work. They're always buying Harleys and they're always fixing the Harleys. You know, I'm partial to Harleys because I've always been around them. But my friends with the rice burners are never working on their bikes. I'll leave it at that. My dad had a lot of great hitchhiking and motorcycle stories. My dream is to make them into a comics. There you go. That's kind of cool. Yeah, hitchhiking. I never hitchhiked. You know, but hitchhiking was big in the 70s. Which one of your favorite vintage comic book brand? Mine was the Live Miniature Monkeys. Yeah, my favorite all-time ad is the Charles Atlas Hero of the Beach. You know, but you know, I love the Sea Monkeys ad, as you can tell if you've got my comic. You know, the Funhouse ad. There's so many good ads. Death Rider is a good sport. Well, that's just it. He has to keep his word, because if he's just going to break his word, then he's not going to have a sport. You know, he obviously is doing this because he enjoys the race. Although, you know, why else would he do it? He's all powerful kind of thing. So, but then again, this is a one-off villain. Marcus, did they ever bring back Death Rider? Because he could have been like an all-time great Ghost Rider villain. The comics was 17 pages with tons of ads. They were previously 21 pages. Yeah, they needed ad revenue. You know, it just seems like there's ads all the time. Atlas. It's a shame that my favorite ad is reduced to that. And now, reunion. You know, so this is good. They're giving me a little emotional release here. You probably all the first two were just exercises. You know, I wanted you to be at your best and fully aware of the import of the final contest. There are no strangers' life involved in this contest. For now, it's your life. Our finishing point will be that distant mountain peak. You can reach it without me touching you. I shall allow you to live. That's just great. Hey, Ryder, I got news for you. I've had it with your game. You could eat hellfire. Blam! You know, well, that should take care of poorly deluded Ghost Rider. You think hellfire would stop me? I told you, I'm beyond the control of heaven and hell, for I am death, and I can destroy but never be destroyed. No! So flee, for all you earth any blaze. Death is coming from you, and death never loses. Except you just lost. You failed to kill this little girl. Okay, don't panic. Just remember, you've always played for high stakes. You know, and now here he is just riding away. You know, I like the he's standing up to like balance out. You know, I wonder if Jim Starlin, is he doing research or does he know about bikes? I don't know. But I said this and I didn't finish up the thought. This emotional release. So they show the silhouette of the little girl going to her parents. So that's good. You know, throwing a little bit back for the reader. Just perfect. Just perfect. Charles Atlas parody ad is in Thug #1. Yeah, I might do Heroic Tales #2. Just let you know, is going to have a Charles Atlas parody ad. Matt Baer, who did the Sea Hippies ad, is doing that ad. Hail peeps, how you doing, Edwin? Yeah, they didn't bring back Death Rider. It would have been big. I think he would have been an interesting villain to bring back. Well, Death probably just views the little girl as a temporary delay. Yeah, he wins in the end, right? Death can afford to be patient. And then we got Power Man Iron Fist. We got Iron Duck. I hated Howard the Duck as a kid. Spider-Man puts himself in the picture. So what's Photo Man? Photo Man, and then Photo Man, he defeats him with Twinkies, which, see, Twinkies. It's funny because I wonder if, because some villains were like, Spider-Man always had Twinkies. Hulk always had Hostess cupcakes. So I wonder, did the Hostess say we licensed Spider-Man for Twinkies? You know what I mean? Like, was it just a coincidence? But why was Spider-Man always Twinkies and the Hulk Hostess and Iron Man was fruit pies? So now, once again, maybe this won't work because this guy behind me is not going to be afraid to try anything I can't pull off. Why should Death be afraid of breaking his neck or cracking his heel? So now Johnny Storm is thinking, and he's thinking, this is going to be a better race because Johnny Storm at this point is still human. He's still riding his bike with fear and apprehension of doing the wrong thing and hurting himself. He goes, but Death Rider, he's not scared. He's not scared to do anything because he doesn't have that instinctual fear of making the wrong turn and hurting your neck and stuff like that. So he's made the rules. I'm forced to ride. He's bullied and cheated me cheated. Of course, he said anything goes. Why not? It's the game of death. Lord, he's almost on top of me. Again, it's the eyes. It's the eyes that show the fear and the emotion, the acting. I would never do this to a regular biker, but this ain't no normal dude I'm against. He goes, what? So Johnny kicks Death Rider's motorcycle. He kicks the front wheel. So anything goes. Unfair. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. So he kicks him off the mountain. It's all over for now. And then he's back to Ghost Rider. And then these two panels drawn by the original team as the framing sequence. To complete the framing sequence, a mind consumed by the flames of vengeance has no time for the dream of death. And then next issue, a demon dwells in Denver. So now we're back to the flaming motorcycle, back to current day. Oh my God, what a great comic. Just so good. So good. Now, wouldn't it be great? Didn't they just do a Hellboy movie? I got to see the new Hellboy movie. I heard it was no good. I didn't see the David Harbour one either. So there's been 4 Hellboy movies. I've only seen 2. But what I'm saying is the latest Hellboy movie, they did a low budget, kind of like horror type movie. This would be a perfect low budget Ghost Rider movie, standalone movie. You don't have to pay for sets. It's set, how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4 characters. You don't have to pay for actors. Maybe the silhouettes of the little girl's parents. You know what I mean? That's 5 actors. The little girl doesn't even have lines. This would be an awesome standalone Ghost Rider horror movie. So good. Low budget. Grindhouse could do it. How long do you think the shelf life for Twinkies in my house? About a day and a half. In my house, a day and a half. So I will never know the answer to that question. Happy Sunday, person holding pencil, blinking. There you go, KO Joe. So there you go. This is Ghost Rider 35. Such a great comic. One of my favorite all-time comics. Excuse me, I stayed up way too late again and got up early for Sunday comics. So as usual, I will keep talking while the chat is going. So this is my ideas for. I don't remember the last time I had a Twinkie. I can remember yesterday. I had a Twinkie yesterday. I think you could actually see me eat a Twinkie on that Adam Lawson interview, or maybe it was It's Clobbering Time. So let's see. What's my weekly schedule? I usually talk about my weekly schedule. Wow, I have nothing scheduled this week. I'm going to be on RJ's. I'm going to be on RJ's channel for It's Clobbering Time, and then Friday we have It's Clobbering Time. The new Teen Titans versus the new X-Men. But other than that, I got nothing scheduled for this week, so it's all open. 45 days is the official shelf life. Okay. Heroic Tales comics. So let's talk about Heroic Tales for a little bit. I was telling Jimmy, so this is my idea for Heroic Tales. Keep in mind, nothing is set. Yes, comic team up for RJ. What did I say? So I will be on the 4th age with RJ this week for comic book team up. So I'm going to be launching the campaign for issue number 2 soon. I originally wanted February, but it just looked like campaigns weren't doing too well, and I didn't want to rush it out for a bad reception. But it looks like things are getting a little bit better. I'm starting to see other people's campaigns picking up. So I will try. I want to get it done in March. Having said that, if issue number 2 does well, then what I want to do is put the Patriarch in his own comic. So the next campaign will be Patriarch number 1, and we'll tell the origin of the Patriarch in issue number 1, and he'll have his own comic. And then Heroic Tales will be what I originally envisioned it to be, just different heroes. So we'll have 2 different heroes. It'll be continue to be a split book of 2 different heroes. So originally it was supposed to be the Patriarch, and then I did on Heroic Tales the suit, and then issue number 2 was going to be Mary Sue and the Raven, and I changed that because people are like, you gotta have the Patriarch, and then issue 3 is going to be two wholly other characters, and I think I'll set myself up for failure, because there would be like there would be continuity in the grand scheme of things, like set in the same world and stuff like that, but there would be no continuity of issues of emotion. Like, I don't care about every issue I got to learn a new character. So I think the Patriarch will get his own comic, and then Heroic Tales. Now, I don't know if I'll do like alternate Patriarch, Heroic Tales, or if I'll do a campaign of Patriarch and Heroic Tales, and then you could pick and choose. So what do you think of that? Again, nothing is set in stone, and it's also, if Heroic Tales 2 bombs, then this project is done. My brother used to take a Twinkie, cut it in half, stick a raw hot dog into it, microwave it for a minute. Called, oh my God. Oh, I said Clobbering Time twice. Oh, okay. I have to ink that Patriarch versus evil Patriarch piece. The evil Patriarch is patricide. That's pretty clever. I actually like that. So there you go. So I started writing what I hope to be Patriarch number 1, because I had his origin. I could make it longer now. I'm adding like a framing sequence around it, modern day, and then goes back into the year 2000 when he was created. I picked the year 2000. It's easy to remember, and it's easy to do the math. Yep. So any questions, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to say? Got nothing else to do. This is going to be this should be my last week off. So now this is my last week off, so I want to do some more board game videos before I go back to work, because then I won't be able to get a chance to do it for a long time. And since all my furlough time is pretty much used up, I should be go knock on wood, working consistently until New Year's, you know what I mean? So I won't have any time off till New Year's, except for the occasional holiday. John, if you finish his origin in comic form, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's always going to be in comic form. Originally I was going to have like a 20-page origin of the Patriarch, but now if it's going to be in his own comic, I could expand it to make it longer. Have you ever tried publishing anything on Chuck Dixon's site? I didn't know that was a possibility. You know, what does it mean? If Marcus is drawing anything, I'm buying. Marcus is drawing the cover to one of Ashley's comics. He's drawing I think a promo poster. And if Eddie is Doomed goes well, I would like to do a follow-up and hire Marcus and a whole bunch of people to do short stories. Marcus saying, thank you. You said you'd be done if the second one fails, but finish the series. You said you'd be done if the second one fails, but finish. Well, if the second one fails, I'm not going to pay 10 grand. You know what I mean? The second one has to pay for itself. Like the first issue I paid for the first issue, the second issue, and then the first issue's paying for the second issue. If the second issue has to pay for the next, you know, because, you know, I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? I got mortgages to pay. So there you go. So a lot riding on the second campaign. You know, but what I know about what I learned from the first issue is what not to waste money on, what to concentrate on. So I don't need to make as much because I'm not hiring a bunch of legendary talents to do various covers and you know, a lot of extra stuff. So and then I could use a lot of the logos and things like that I already paid for. So the second issue shouldn't be as expensive as the first issue. When is the Eddie is Doomed campaign? Probably not for a while. I got one page done. Oscar is finishing up his obligations with a couple other people. I'm getting the first page lettered to use that as a promo. The concept behind the first page is, you know how ROM, the first splash page of ROM is the advertisement, and then when you open up ROM, it's also the first page. So I'm doing that so I could show that around to get people interested. But I have two artists working on that. Oscar is going to be doing the superhero portion. He's got the script, and you know, he's working on Rome Eternal, and he's working on finishing up the coloring for Aaron Sparrow's Kneel Before Doomface. You know, but we don't have a launch date or anything like that. So Kneel Before Doomface is his priority, and Rome Eternal is his priority. Now, Tonic Mole is drawing the Eddie's portions, and he's just pumping out comics. So he's gonna make a page like when he can. So who knows? I can't give a time. I haven't seen any. The only thing I've seen by Tonic Mole so far is just the little cover drawing of Eddie. So, you know, we'll see. So I'll you know, and I only pester people on Fridays. So I'll wait till next Friday and just ask, how's, you know, and any pages, anything like that. Eddie is Doomed is such a fun idea. Cool. Yeah, I love it. Are you getting Rom Marvel's Legends figure? I can't wait for that time. I'm trying not to get toys. But that one really tempts me. That really tempts me. So, anything else to say? Anything else to talk about? That's everything that's going on. Narwhal, who's Per Berg is his real name. Jason Sandberg and I are probably going to do like an infrequent comic book. I don't want to say review, but like an in-depth deep dive comic book show whenever. And we're going to start with Mr. X 1 to 4. I'm real excited. I dug them out, got them right over here to check them out. So as soon as they give me it, I want to reread them right before we go, so it's fresh in my mind. But I love those comics, so I keep pressuring them. When are we gonna do it? I hope soon, because I got nothing scheduled for this week. So there we go. All right, I'm gonna shut things down. I'm getting hungry, and I gotta continue with my OSHA 30. All right, bye.